Well, here's a familiar face. The VW ID.R. I tested it in CDT quite recently. Well, not recently, a couple of months ago. And quite liked it. And now it's in dealership Tycoon. As one of the most expensive cars in the game, retails for nearly 20 million for the standard car. This one's obviously fully upgraded. And quick. But we'll get to the actual road testing bit later. Strictly speaking, this isn't the same car as the one I tested in CDT. Because the one I tested in CDT was the ID.R Pikes Peak. This is the standard ID.R. It's also the one that set a record as the fastest car up the Goodwood Festival of Speed hill climb. For a year anyway, until it was taken by the McMurtry Spearling. So this is actually quite a cool car. You know, being the fastest thing up the most famous hill climb in the world, apart from maybe Pikes Peak, that's pretty important. Actually, speaking of the Goodwood Festival of Speed, it is on right now. And I am very annoyed with Alfa Romeo for ruining the junior name, but actually back to the ID.R. This is VW's electric hyper race car. ID is the name of VW's electric cars. You've got the ID.3, which is an electric Golf. The ID.1, which was a sort of concept for an electric up exclamation mark. There's also the ID.4, which is like a sort of ID.3 based crossover SUV. The ID.5, which is a much bigger, well, not much bigger, but a bigger version of the ID.4. And then I think there's also an ID.6 and an ID.7. I don't care much for VW's electric range, they're all quite dreary. But this one's not. 300 miles an hour. Which is pretty quick. Yeah. Anyway, this was created to try and bring VW some goodwill. They started making it around the time that the Dieselgate scandal happened. VW were discovered lying about their diesel emissions and their reputation was tarnished. So to try and fix this, they made an electric hyper race car to appeal to petrolheads. And most people tend to forget about it, because while it was a cool car, it sort of didn't bring much goodwill with petrolheads because it was electric, and around this time people weren't so open-minded to being electric. I mean, a lot of people aren't, but even back then it was far worse. So VW made another risk, and it sort of didn't. Oh my god. I'll come back to that later. And it didn't pay off. Which is a shame, because I feel like this is just petrolheads' stubbornness. If people actually realised how much of a good and cool car this is, it could be so much more. There's no real problems with the performance. I mean, it's a 20 million quid car that does 356 miles an hour. Although actually, that is a problem with the performance. Because if you look at all the other cars around its price bracket, like the 24 million quid. Ooh. Aston Martin Valkyrie AMR Pro. That's a 390 mile an hour car. Mazda Furai 390. Chiron 300 Plus 390. Cento 10 380. It lacks in power for the price, which is a bit of a shame, but I think that's actually just to make it more accurate to real life. Electric cars don't have as high of a top speed as petrol cars. But it's the handling that impresses me, like most of all. Whoa. Well, it actually goes so quick we got air over that little hump, but look at this. Handles like it's on rails. I mean, I have to grind with a Vision GT to get a lot of the cars for these videos. But this This handles far better than it. That handles like a pig and costs much more. This handles really well, nice and delicately. But also, just turns so well. It's not very good brake steering. None of the cars in Dealership Tycoon really are. But just look at it. Power in the corners. And it just turns through. You can take ludicrous speeds through corners in this. And that's a really impressive thing. Now, if you looked at the start, you would have noticed how high the mileage is on this car. I've done 160 miles on it. And a lot of those were around this race circuit, because I think this can put in a truly impressive time. As long as lag doesn't get in the way, and I actually drive it well. So, let's try this. Here we go. Whoa, look at it. It feels dangerous. But it turns so well. Look at it. Flying up here. Does try and kick a little. But you can get on top of it. Oh my god. 28.05! Whoa! Never thought I'd do a sub 30 second lap. And now I've just done a 28.05 in this. That's seriously quick. Whoops-a-daisy. I was going to make a comment on how easy it is to drive. Which you've just seen as just a random idiot, me, has just set a 28.05 around the circuit. And that's why I like this thing, because I can set a fast lap time. Now, I'm no good driver, and I don't hide that. But the fact I was able to put in such a good lap time, I think that says it all, really. This is an easy car to drive, yet it can do 356 miles an hour, and accelerates to warp speed instantly. It's so easy to drive, and it's fun to drive. So, petrol heads of Dealership Tycoon. If you have 20 million quid, or even 25 million quid, to spend on a really quick car to get you around this circuit race, buy an electric VW. And on that bombshell, thank you all for watching. Maybe there's a CDT update tomorrow, so if there is, I'll see you then.